I'm working on a project to renovate an iconic Chinese car, the Volkswagen Santana. In my last video, I told you that my car had a few issues. I got it fixed. Mostly. So, after that initial consultation on all the shit that needs to get repaired on this car, I took it back to the mechanic and managed to get the car unfucked up. Unfortunately, I wasn't actually able to film any of the repair work because mechanics didn't seem so hot on the idea of being watched, which is understandable. So I left them to do their job. The first problem that my mechanic wanted to tackle was getting the engine coolant system running properly. So he first replaced the head gasket, as well as the coolant tank, coolant pump, coolant pipes, and thermostat. Following that, the mechanic wanted to work on various problems with the engine and transmission, as there was still a bunch of small problems. So he began by replacing the valve cover gasket, oil pan gasket, oil sensor, oil filter, oxygen sensor, timing belt cover, power steering belt, engine gaskets, and most of the engine pipes were replaced. He also installed a new exhaust pipe. The wheel assembly was also a bit scuffed, so had a lot of work done. They replaced the front lower control arm and strut assembly, brake pads, rear drum brake cylinders, front axle heads, front tyres, speedometer sensor, shock absorber rubbers, and most of the bearings. Then replaced the brake fluid and realigned the wheels. The wheels are still a bit fucked, gonna just have to live with that one until I can sort out new ones. There were now just a few small issues to address. The sloppy gear stick, so we had a new gear stick mechanism and seat installed. The doors that don't lock, so the central locking system was replaced, and the windscreen wipers not working, so the wiper motors and blades were also replaced. The Santana is also a mad cheap car for repairs in China. To get everything done in a week at this shop cost me 10,500 kwai, roughly 1,500 quid, including parts and labour. So why fuck about myself? You could argue that at double the price of this car, that is way too much to pay. But if there are any mechanics from the UK or the US, how much would this amount of work cost you on a discontinued vehicle? Like, I'm genuinely curious because that's a lot of fucking work. Shouldn't I just fix this car myself? Fuck no. I am just an idiot with a camera. I do not have the time, space, or expertise for that. This isn't really a car channel anyway. There is also a logistics issue with doing the repairs myself. This is where I park my car. It's a rented spot in my building's underground car park with no lighting, no access to electricity or water, and nowhere to store the equipment necessary for the types of repairs my vehicle needs. To be honest, it's just easier to pay somebody who knows what they're doing to do a job. If you haven't watched my first video in this series, go watch it. I think I've made it abundantly clear that I do not know fuck all about cars. What I do know is that in China, you can get some serious shit done if you find the right people. So that's what I did. So what do I do next? Engine swap, turbo, cold air intake, supercharger. No. Chinese car modification laws are a minefield of regulations that, if failed, could completely void the yearly vehicle inspection. And if it fails, the car gets crushed. Now, according to these regulations, you cannot do anything to the engine that could affect its performance. That also includes most mods that can be used for racing, like installing harnesses, or bucket seats. Honestly, that's fine with me. The Santana don't even have airbags. I do not want 500 horsepower from it. Have you ever seen the 150 kph crash test footage for this car? It is fucking horrifying. 89 horsepower is enough. So let's move on to stage 2. This is a car wash. Fucking exhilarating documentary footage, I know, but bear with me. This gives me a chance to show you what an absolute fucking state this car is in. As far as the bodywork is concerned, and aside from a bit of scratch paint and a few dents, it's mostly fine. No rust or anything majorly worrying, although the bumpers have definitely seen their fair share of abuse. I didn't do much to the exterior, just a wash down and a polish with some Canuba wax. The windows are totally scuffed though. There are a few chips on the windscreen, and those stickers proved to be impossible to remove with alcohol or acetone. So I'll have an expert look at that. There are tons of scratches on the windows, so driving at night looks like driving with astigmatism. The water doesn't clean from the windscreen, so I went hard on cleaning the windows down. The first thing I noticed when I get in the car is how it smells exactly like my grandfather's car from my childhood. It must be a pretty universal smell. There's that musty smell of a decade of cigarette smoke permeating every surface, and ash that has been rubbed into fabric seats 1,000 times. Carpets that have had dirt ground into them by muddy boots, and the dank smell of a vehicle that has endured wet, miserable winters and baking summers. This interior needed a deep clean. I dug out all of the garbage that was wedged under the seats and in the crevices. I tried the vacuum cleaner, but it was just fucking useless, so went in with the Chems and a scrub brush. The dashboard is probably the only thing in this vehicle that was in a decent condition, though most of the plastics around the car were also scuffed. The amount of shit that came out of the carpets and other fabrics was horrendous. The seats weren't much better. The improvements were aesthetically minimal, but all them cleaning sprays at least made the car smell a bit more fresh, and I didn't feel grimy every time I stepped out the car. This project is taking a lot of time and effort, not just finding the people to work with on the vehicle, but location scouting, script writing, setting up lighting and cameras, shooting the video, retakes, recording sound, translating, video editing, etc. I'm doing the best I can alone, so thanks for being patient with the video releases. I'm learning a lot while doing this project, and I know there are tons of ways that I could improve, so if you've got any ideas, just drop a comment for your suggestions. Sick. Cheers. Thanks.